Good evening. Hope you are well. Hope you've been excited for the return of the United Touring Championship live from Donington Park for round 5 and 6. This evening's racing is going to be absolutely incredible. We've got a sprint race of 16 laps. We got a feature race of 22 plus one mandatory drive-through pit stop. Joining me in the booth this evening is myself, James Parfitt, with Zach Sweeney here as well tonight, bringing us all the action. And what an incredible night of action it's going to be, with 19 cars on track here, a track length of about 3.16 kilometres, set in Castle Donington in the UK. Opened in 1931. It did close again in 1939, mind you, to get a reshape that cost then, back then in 1939, of £12,000. The capacity is 120,000, but we are here at the racing circuit here, where we do not have the hairpin, and it currently holds the World Superbike, the Sidecar World Championship, the BTCC, the BSB, the TCR UK, and it formerly held the F1 European Grand Prix as well. So that's incredible. And also we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different layouts of this circuit that we can use, but we are here tonight at the nice straightforward Grand Prix circuit. So I think it's a good time to bring in Zach into the booth. Good evening, Zach. How are you, young sir?
Doing absolutely fantastic, and well, really looking forward to tonight as well.
Yeah, I know you've been pumped up for this one, haven't you? You're kind of falling in love with the UTC. You know, you've turned into a bit of a touring car lover after watching the first 4 rounds.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, you know, as a commentator, there's some series that you really are just like, you know, I'll get through it. Then there's ones that you really do get stoked for, you enjoy it, you're having a smile on your face all the way through. And that's exactly what the United Touring Championship is. You know, back in Kota at round 1 when I jumped in, very last minute, mind you, it was a very last minute thing just to jump in and be like, wow, this is awesome. And then, of course, we went to Road Atlanta and again was blown away there. So, you know, for the last, what has it been, 3 weeks since we were at Road Atlanta, to come into Donington, you know, one of my favourite circuits, not only because it's in the UK, but just because it's one of those club-style circuits. It suits the touring cars so well, and hopefully they are going to deliver tonight, which honestly I'm sure they will, because, you know, round 3 championships really starting to boil up as well. It should be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at the championship standings. You can currently see Olivier Boltonek is leading the way on 74 points. Scott McFall in second on 73. Dan Mould in third on 53. Stuart Reynolds on 46. Chris Byram on 37. Neil Carvalho on 35. Lewis Archer on 34. Dominic Herbert 27. Staffis Kokorogiannis on 24. Ivan Balkamp on 22. Timed with Xander van der Herdewin. And then Derek Craver in 12th on 21st, Mikael Leeson in 13th on 20th, Adam Dalmont in 18th, Danny Bleak in 16th, Sean Roberts there in 16th place on 16 points, Neil Ferrier in 17th place on 14, tied with Mark Draper in 18, Albin Schellberg in 19th in 10 points, and Dean Timms in 20th place there. Now in the Constructors' Championship, it's looking good at the top for Sim District Vibe eSports with 147 points. Vibe Sim District Esports on 80, CUDA Works on 72, Blade Designs on 67, Blade Liveries on 41, Sight on 38, CUDA Am on 29, GTR on 27, CUDA Evo on 23, 5-Star Motorsport on 22, Rockstar Sim Racing on 21, HPT Racing Team DCR on 16, Ignium Motorsports in 13th on 6, Vision Tech Digital Racing in 14th on 4, Sim District by Vibe Esports on 3, GTR Evolution on 1, and others are yet to score below that one. There you go. It's looking that really spicy in this championship. I think, to be fair, we've got an absolute incredible schedule coming up as well. We're here at Donington Park, then on the 12th of November, next week we go to Brands Hatch for round 7 and 8. Then on the 19th of November we go to, we go down to Monza, which is absolutely incredible, which is the Grand Prix no chicane circuit. Then in December we go to the Red Bull Ring on the 11th and 12th, which is a North circuit. Oran Park, which is the South circuit, on the 17th of December, and then Phillip Island, the Grand Prix circuit, on the 13th and 14th. What are you most likely, what's your most exciting track going forward? Because we've got some amazing circuits coming up.
You've really put me on the spot there. I mean, we've got Donington tonight. We've got Brands Hatch next. So two, iconic British club circuits, which I'm looking forward to for both. Brands Hatch is great in touring cars, and we've got some Monza and no chicane, which is going to be really interesting. By no chicane, they mean the Rettifilo turns 1 and 2. You just go straight on, I believe.
Yep.
Which is, going to be fun into Curva Grande and then down in towards the Roger at turn 4 and 5. But Red Bull Ring as well, 3 consecutive straights, 3 consecutive quite heavy braking zones. But then the Aussies, we've got to give them some credit. Phillip Island is such a good circuit. I didn't know about it until I got iRacing, and Lewis McGlade was like, you haven't got Phillip Island? You need to get Phillip Island. And I raced it, and I was like, this is awesome. Going through Leaky Heights and over the crest. And then Oran Park, it's a new one for me. I've not really been quite familiar with it, but, it's to round off the season, so it's got to be good. There's a lot of pros. It's just which one has the most pros. And honestly, I think we just have to wait to find out, because no matter how good the track is, it could be a really bad track, but still deliver some really good racing. And it can be a really good circuit with a lot of history, a lot of, nostalgia, sort of fan favorite sort of esque, and still have a pretty poor race. So I think we're not going to know until we get there, but definitely looking forward for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be incredible. So basically what Zach's saying is he's sitting on the fence. He's not going to tell you what his best one is, but he's not going to tell you what his worst one is either. So basically he's going to sit on the fence and get sprinters on his bottom, aren't you? That's basically about it.
I'm saying I'm not playing this game. It's a very cliche answer to be like, nah, not doing it. Can't say, but it's true. I mean, I don't mind sitting on the fence. This, it's quite comfy. Might get some cushions or whatever, but nah, it's a good fence to sit on when you've got tracks these good.
Yeah, look at him copping it out there, guys, as well. Sitting there as well. Don't forget, guys, if you are here in chat, Danny Blink, welcome in as well. Phil, across the pond, as always, thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, turn on the bells, and give the videos a big old thumbs up, because we've got more of the same action, absolutely amazing action coming up as well here on the UTC YouTube channel. So definitely keep on top of it, guys, as well, and turn on them bells, because trust me, you're not going to be disappointed with this series. It is absolutely incredible. We've got about 2.5 minutes of practice, and we go into a 15-minute quali session. That should be another interesting one. If though, Zach, I turned around and said, who's going to get pole before the end of practice, obviously you need to tell me, who do you think is going to get pole currently at the moment?
Oof. I mean, at the moment, we've got Callum Reed-Garton, who's looking fairly strong up on top. Of course, just over a 10th clear of Dan Mould, who's, third place in the standings, not bad at all. But then we've got our reigning champion and championship leader of Olivier Boltonic in P3. So we've got a lot of good options, and it is very, very close. Of course, it's not the longest circuit, especially the national layout of Donington. Of course, even the Grand Prix circuit only adds 2 corners, but there's still quite a bit of time. So it's a short circuit. It is going to lend itself to a really close qualifying. I think Boltonic might have this one in the bag. He is really good in terms of qualifying, but if we're going off practice solely, Callum Reed-Garton has shown some good pace.
Absolutely, Callum Reed's at the top, 1:11.35 at the moment as well. As we can see here, number 80 car of Dan Mould there from Blade Designs. He's going around. Derek Crowther currently behind him, his teammate there as well. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think these guys are going to be absolutely flying this evening. I don't think it's going to be, how can I put it? I don't think we're going to be disappointed in what sort of event we've got. And I think with this touring car, I love touring cars. BTCC is absolutely incredible. It brings that door rubbing, it brings that out-and-out action racing, Zach, doesn't it? And I think that's what this series kind of epiphanizes at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, with some open wheel cars, sorry, I just got a bit of saliva in my throat. I can't really speak at the moment. You really timed that very poorly. No. I was stuck up. You're right. No, I'm good. I'm professional. No, it's yeah, these cars are really good, and as I was saying before I completely choked myself, the open wheel cars are often, you can be quite scared to race them because obviously they're really fragile, and of course, motorsport isn't a contact sport and whatever. Naturally, you're going to get contact. It's inevitable. It's like saying you're not going to get tackled if you play football. Like it's going to happen, innit? It just depends if you roll on the floor and cry. But no, in an open wheel car, if you get tapped, chances are you're going to spin. Chances are you're going to end up with a bit of damage. In these, if you get it a little bit wrong and you rub doors a little bit, no harm, no foul. You can get away with it. Of course, it's great to see some clean racing, but you often do see that. And you often see better racing when you have got that sort of allowance for error, because people aren't scared. People know that if they go in and they have a bit of door banging, it's not going to end their race. So they're going to go for those moves. They're going to be a bit more, wanting to go for it. And that's what we really like to see. And that's what we've been spoiled to all season long. We've seen really close fights, some outstanding moves, either to the outside or darting to the inside. These cars are so capable, and it lends itself to bring some really good racing. Of course, both the sprint and the feature race, we got 2 races, so just double the action.
Absolutely as well. And we start off with the sprint, but before that, we've got the little situation of qualifying going on. Who is going to get qualifying? Well, Zach reckons Olivier Boltonek. We haven't seen much of Scott McFall this evening, so it'd be interesting to see what Scott can do and how he's going to fare with these cars. I think it's Scott McFall over at the end of the day. I don't think we're really going to doubt Scott's ability. I think he's going to be right there or thereabouts as always anyway. So I think from that point of view, it should be an interesting one. He is here in the session, just waiting for him to get out on track. They are looking. It is an open quali, so they do have to pick the space when to go out. And at the moment, Olivier Boltonek has decided there, Zach, he's going to go out first.
You don't really need slipstream around Donington. It's a tight and twisty circuit. You don't gain much from being in the slipstream, and you're definitely not going to gain as much as you are going to lose having to follow someone through the corners. A little bit of outwash. Of course, they're not very aerodynamically capable, these touring cars, but being close behind someone is naturally going to slow you down just a little bit. So Olivier Boltonek doing the right decision, I think, of just getting out ahead of people, trying to put some laps in, because in the championship at the moment decided by 1 point between themselves and Scott McFall, 74 and 73 apiece for Olivier Boltonek and Scott McFall in the championship. You need to nail some qualifying results together. While it's not going to be the deciding factor, it well could be, and it's definitely going to give you a good helping hand if you can get some good laps in qualifying. And Boltonek is not leaving up to chance. No,
he's gone out and started leading us away straight away, and I think this is going to be one of them things that is just going to be absolutely flying here. I think Olivier is going to be pulling this off and do an absolute stunning job, because I think overall he's just going to be on top of his game. I think he's in the Audi, he loves the Audi, he's been in the Audi continuously. So I think from that point of view, I think he's just going to be flying away with it. I can't wait to see how this turns out, because it's going to be pretty spicy, this one at Donington as well. It's, short circuit, close action. We're going to be spoiled, mate, I think, tonight.
I think we are. I mean, again, I'll big up Donington just a little bit more. It's a great circuit. I mean, we saw just recently with the British F4 eSports series, a race at Donington a couple of weeks ago around Donington, and it was so good. We had packs of 4 or 5 cars fighting for the race lead all throughout the half-an-hour race, and they were so close. And that was in open wheel cars, which we've already said are a little bit scary to overtake. These are touring cars. You can send moves, and Donington keeps everyone nice and close. There's plenty of opportunities really to get the moves done. You can send a move into Redgate because of how wide it is going in, how much it tightens up at the apex. You can go for a move, of course, through Hollywood and down the Craner curves. Not the best place, same too with the old hairpin. You can send a move into McLean's, and if you're lucky, you can sort of nip up the inside through Coppice, and then you've got the final chicane as you go through Goddard's for the final corner, and then it all starts over again. There's plenty of ways to get a move done, even in the most unorthodox of ways. And because these are touring cars, you can go for moves in places you don't usually expect moves to be made.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got Olivier Boltonek leading the way on 112.98 currently at the moment. Milky1616, welcome in. And thank you so much for joining us here. And you see on the left-hand side, we've got Olivier Boltonek, Staffis Kokorianis, Ivan Balkamp, Derek Crowther, Sean Roberts, Dominic Herbert, Mark Draper, Rob Sluter, all currently setting times. And that is currently your top 8. And I think that's only going to improve as we go on. I don't think we're going to be sitting with the 112.9s. Do you reckon we can get down to 112.5, you think?
It's a big ask. I mean, as the track improves, they go around, they're going to lay down some rubber, they're going to get quicker, and naturally just trying to settle in and, put some decent laps in. Well, there goes Olivier Boltonek, a 12.4 already, so blowing that right out of the water with that one, with still 11 minutes left in this qualifying session. he's going to improve, but again, it's a short circuit. There's not much opportunity to improve that time. So it's just going to be chipping away bit by bit, maybe a 10th improvement. But again, we haven't seen what the likes of Scott McFall and Callum Reed-Garton can properly do. So just hold your horses for now, and I think we're going to see some quick times.
Oh, hold my horses. I don't have any to hold, but I do get excited when we predict the fact that he's going to do a 1:12.5, and he instantly goes across the line on his second lap there. Callum Reed-Garton is setting the purple and the green. Let's see what he's going to be able to do currently as well as he's going across the line. Callum Reed there is going to go into 1:12.07. Not only did he go quicker, but Olivier Boltonek again has got the middle sector under purple. So he is absolutely flying as well. Can we hit that 1:11 mark, Zach, you think?
I mean, he's not far off, only, 7/100ths of a second, 72 thousandths of a second. We're going to see what Olivier Boltonek can do across the line. It's only a 12.2, just ahead of Lewis Archer, my main man, my legend, for giving me the F1 streams each week. So cheers, mate. Have to give him that special mention for that. But he's up there in P3, so it's nice to see him doing really, really well. But a 12.0 at the moment for Callum Reed-Garton, that's going to be really hard to beat. 2 tenths around here. I mean, it's going to be close, but if anyone can do it, I think Boltonek can.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on Olivier's time as he's in second place currently on a 1:12.25. Absolutely flying along. Callum Reed again, purple in sector 2. He's decided he's going for it. I think we're going to see a 1:11. I think we're going to see a 1:11 here from Callum Reed as he goes down across the start-finish line. What are we going to get on the board? It's got to be a 1:11. Oh, 1:11.767. Wow. Absolutely smashed it. But then again, look at Olivier to swap it times. He's purple in sector 1, green. Oh, takes a big dose of the entry into Goddard's there, Zach. Absolutely creamed that.
He did, clattered that apex across the line. The time to beat is an 11.767. We'll see what he can do. Stuart Reynolds into the 11s as well, just with a 9.9. Boltonek, I don't think, improved on that previous lap time, but Callum Reed-Garton absolutely fine. There's goes Kokoru Giannis up into third place as well, the 12.22. So already it's proven to be really, really close, but Reed-Garton flying out in front. And yeah, wow, that is a fantastic lap time to put in, and I think it's only going to get quicker with a bit of confidence, just sending it a little bit. Still got 8 minutes left to go. He's got a solid time, and now he's got he's got a good time in the bag. So now he can push. He can afford to mess up a couple of laps because he's got one there ready, and he's got the time to go for it. So I think we're going to see Callum Reed-Garton just completely send it for the rest of this session.
Cannot wait for this. See how we get down, whether or not we break down through a level 1:11.5. That would be a big ask, but we'll see there. Dan Carpenter going across the line, car number 86 on a 1:12.88. Oh, look at Olivier. Purple in sector 1 and 2. He's clattering. I'm surprised he's got any front, right, left on that one.
And on the run to the line, what is it going to be? Only green through the final sector. Is it provisional pole? We'll wait for it to refresh. Yes, it is. At 1:11.69. We have still got half the session left to go. So can't get too excited yet, but it's shaping up to be such a good session. We've got 3 drivers within the, well, make that 4 now as Scott McFall wants to get in on the action. Don't want to be left out for him. 4 drivers within the 1:11s, and still with half the session left to go. This could be a climactic end.
Absolutely. I think this is just going to be one after the other with these guys. See Chris Byron coming across the line as well. No, not ideal there, mate. I want to get that out of the way. Rob Sluter is another one as well, as why Chris just sits there and does some nice little pirouettes for us. But Dan Carpenter again is going green in sector 1 and 2 for him. So that's his fastest time. Very surprised with that line actually there, Zach. I thought he would have just stayed to the right-hand side of the circuit coming out of Goddard's shortest route. No?
It is, but again, maybe he was setting up for his next lap, because if he wants to set up Redgate, he wants to obviously get back to the left-hand side of the circuit as quickly as he can. Redgate, of course, being turn 1, and you do want to be on the left-hand side. It depends, though, if you're trying to finish your lap or trying to maximise the old one, but it shouldn't cost him too much. It's the smallest of things, really, as we see coming out the final corner, just a couple of drives. Scott McFall at the moment, P3. Is it going to be an improvement? It doesn't look to be based on his sector times, and that is a no. So that is sort of the why he's coming to the left-hand side already just to try and set up red gate. Actually, no, he's deciding to go back to the pit lane. Of course, they do get infinite laps, so they can just escape back to the pit lane, refresh, and then go again.
Yeah, absolutely. Back with your current pole man, Olivier Boltonek, on a 1:11.687. Absolutely incredible time from him. I'm going to pick up second place man, Callum Reed-Gardner, as well. I think he's going to be going for it. And let's have a look at this lap here around this tricky Donington Park circuit. As I'd say that, it looks like he's... Is he going? Can't really work out if he's... Oh, maybe. Yep, he is. That looks a very slow entry then. I'm not saying he was going to throw it in because it's not an open wheel car, so don't get me wrong. So I suppose from that point of view... No.
I mean, he has just set provisional pole, so you might want to just take a bit of a slow lap. But again, these are touring cars. They're not exactly aerodynamically very capable. Maybe just want to take a slow down, cool the tyres down and then go again. But he's just put it on provisional pole, so I don't think he's too eager to straight away go for a very quick blinded lap. And you definitely can tell that he's just taking it a bit easy.
Yeah, he's just cruising around. Currently, Neil Carvalho has got greens in his first two sectors here. Oh, another one bouncing that curve. I'm surprised they're not copied slowdowns or off tracks at that point, because that's a lot of sausage curb and a lot of curb they're taking there, Zach. You know, are we looking at off tracks and slowdowns? Is it really going to be one of them big moments here? Are we going to be looking at the cars going down, especially down into the old hairpin? Do you think the slowdown situation is going to come into account, or what do you reckon overall?
I mean, look at Donington. It's a UK club circuit. There's not much allowance in terms of runoff. You have the track, then you have grass, then you have barrier. That is pretty much as much you're going to get. You don't gain much from cutting, of course, as we say, through that final chicane. There's a bit of an allowance on the curb, but I'm not entirely sure as to iRacing's boundaries. That is going to be the deciding factor. But it is easy just to nip off a bit more than iRacing is going to let you. But then again, everyone's in the same boat. You've got to keep it on the circuit. There's no incident limit, but you do not want to be picking up a slowdown because momentum is going to be a big thing around Donington, especially in these touring cars. You don't want to pick up a silly slowdown just for trying to get the extra 1,000th of a second, but definitely you can tell using a lot of that inside curb heading into the final chicane and into Goddard's. But in terms of purposefully doing it, absolutely not. It's going to be one of those things that if you run a little bit wide off the exit, say, of McLean's or off the exit of Coppice and go slightly off track, that's when you're going to pick up those 1Xs and slowdowns. It's not going to be because they're trying to be too eager on the track limits, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. So let's see how this one pans out. We've got 3 minutes remaining currently at the moment. Sean Roberts just done 2 greens and a yellow at the end. He's still down in 17th place, unfortunately for him. Nilton Carvalho here is currently in 7th for Vibe Sim District eSports. So Nilton there as well was involved in some blue flag shenanigans, should we say, last time out there. Zach, I think was what really kind of shone from that last one. The racing was absolutely epic, but that blue flag situation did cause a little bit of a problem, and Nilton kind of was wrapped up in the middle of that, really, wasn't he?
He was, but again, it was a couple of weeks ago, so if we forgive and forget, he's got to try and redeem himself and bounce back, and he's doing a great job of doing it up there in P7, only half a second actually off pole position. Goes to show how close this qualifying session is. 1 second, just over 1 second, gets you all the way down to P14 of Dan Carpenter. So very, very close indeed in qualifying session. But for Nilton Carvalho, he's got to come into today and just, you know, try and shrug everything off, shrug off Road Atlanta, and continue for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to have a good old go and see. There you go, guys. There are the gaps on the left-hand side. As you can see, 1 second down into 14th. Look at Callum Reed-Garton. Look at Callum Reed-Garton. 2 purples across the board. He's got this last chicane now. What is he going to be doing? Going in to the final one now. Oh, that looks a bit of a different entry point. Did he get the off track for that? As he goes across the line, it is yellow. Is there going to be an improvement now? 1:11.416. So he improved minutely, but he still improved, Zach.
On a lap time that good, that's what you can really ask for. is a small improvement, really, for Callum Reed-Garton, because yeah, I mean, he's already at the pinnacle. It's going to be difficult in terms of improvement. It's like a really quick improvement, and then you get to a point where it's like it starts to level off a bit, and your improvement starts to sort of decrease, because when you're that close, it's so difficult to just find that small thing that's going to gain you some time. But still, 2.5 tenths clear of Olivier Boltonic, who at the moment is going to join him on the front row. But yeah, I mean, he's doing so well already, but he just wants to get that secure, because you can't get complacent. Complacency is going to be your biggest enemy if you're confident in terms of your lap time, because Olivier Boltonic is one driver you definitely don't want to feel secure around, because they're one that can pull one out of the bag straight away.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think if these guys can get that breakaway that we so much talk about, especially in this kind of series where you kind of want to be clear, because there is going to be some action behind door rubbing, a car going off. There is going to be that. That is kind of what we're expecting. But I think from them front two, they kind of don't want to get that bogged down start where they end up slipping down the order. You know, I was watching the session yesterday, and the guy was in second place, and by the end of it, he finished all the way down, and he basically, after the first few corners, he was down in about 7th or 8th, and it was just drastic for him. So there we go. But here is the standings currently. Callum Reed-Garton in first place. Olivier Boltonic in second. Stuart Reynolds third. Mark Draper fourth. Dan Mould in fifth. Scott McFall in sixth. Mikael Lees in seventh. Nilton Carvalho eighth. Stathis Kokorogiannis in ninth. Derek Craver 10th. Lewis Archer in 11th. Dominic Herbert in 12th place. Beyond them, we've got Ivan Baukamp in 13th, Dan Carpenter 14th, Chris Byram 15th, Stuart Gibbons 16th, Sean Roberts 17th, Rob Sluter 18th, and Luke Mitchell down in 19th place there. So, okay, so let's start off with the positives out of qualifying. We saw it with Callum Reed-Garton, straight away taking pole. Negatives out of qualifying are the likes of Lewis Archer, all the way down the order there, Zach, and not kind of where we would expect him to be currently, sitting down in 11th place.
I mean, with how close qualifying was, it wasn't a bad result by any stretch of the imagination. He still did really, really well, did Lewis Archer. And, you know, it's definitely not decided on qualifying at all. You can move forward in the race. So it's still definitely a possibility for him to move forward, because Donington lends itself well to overtaking. It's still really good, and qualifying, as we always say, is not going to settle. But I'm interested in that fight at the front between Callum Reed-Garton and Olivier Boltonic.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go, guys. What is going to happen here? The lights are going to be coming on. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And away we go. Garton on the left-hand side got an absolute flying start with Boltonic in second, Mark Draper in third, Dan Mould in fifth, and it's Garton leading us away here as we're going down into Redgate currently at the moment with Olivier Boltonic. Looks like he's going to be climbed all over the back of. Oh, big spinner at the back. That looks like Ivan Baukamp and Derek Crowther both going down the order there, dropping all the way down currently into last place. But it's Boltonic we're chasing down Reed-Garton, chasing down behind with Dan Mould and Mark Draper. Clean start, few going off, which is what we said, but at the end of the day, the main front crew have got away without any problems.
They really have, and you can see them now heading in towards McLean for the first time. Olivier Boltonic did not get away well. Dan Mould with a stellar launch, it must be said, up 2 places from 5th on the grid ahead of Stuart Reynolds and Mark Draper. Stuart Reynolds falling down the order, really not great for him. But now as they exit through Coppice and down the back straight, Dan Mould all over the rear end of Olivier Boltonic. Forced to go defensive is the Belgian. Dummies to the inside, did try Mould. He's going to then go back to the left-hand side. Boltonic had none of that. Meanwhile, Reed-Garton is pulling away, leads lap 1, and this fight for second races on because Olivier Boltonic's just gone off.
Yeah, Nilton Carvalho, another one taking a grass bit as well, saving the groundsman, some gardening currently at the moment, but up front, Dan Mould is looking to go around the outside of Redgate on Olivier Boltonic. Is there going to be room there as he's pushing round on the right-hand side? Boltonic takes a big dose of the inside curve there, gets that Audi up on 2 wheels and loses that position to that Hyundai as they drop down now into the old hairpin. And it is currently Reed-Garton, Mould, Boltonic, Draper. One of the things we feared, Garton getting away, guys behind fighting. He's not going to be under pressure currently at the moment, is he? Reed-Garton's just got to do his thing. Next 14 laps to get away that way.
He does, but Dan Mould now being released, we will have to see what he can do in terms of clear air, race pace, and again, Callum Reid, I don't think we've seen him lead a lap this season, at least to my memory. He hasn't been towards the front, so who knows how he's going to deal with pressure. It's one of those things that you either thrive under or you're going to crack under. And as soon as that gap is now under a second, you can see Dan Mould is still pretty close to Callum Reid-Garton with the pace through McLean's and Coppice, and what was a pretty substantial gap to lead him off the first couple of laps has now turned off, but there's a mistake from Dan Mould and Bosnick's back through. Those sorts of things is what's going to help Callum keep his lead.
Yeah, absolutely there. Dan Mould now is under pressure from Mark Draper. Mark Draper behind in that purple car currently as well. So he is absolutely flying. Bull in car number 84, the other Blade Designs car as well. And he is getting up into 4th place behind Dan Mould, really trying to check down there as well. We'll have a look at the gainers of this session currently at the moment. You see Mould up to Archer. Oh, Archer's going down the order. That's not a good look, and that'd be why Lewis Archer is off track. So unfortunately for him, he has dropped down the order now, all the way down in 12th place. But Mould, Draper, and now also Scott McFall is about 1.3 back, but they're all trying to chase down Olivier Boltinek, taking down that 2nd place before they get down to Reid-Garton, who is currently out in front and absolutely flying.
His pace has been pretty good, but in terms of that last lap, Bolton was actually 0.3 of a second quicker. Mark Draper quicker of all of them with a 1:13.1. So some pretty good pace being shown, but it is that final chicane. It's make or break of the lap, really. You either get a really good run through or a really poor one, and it really can show those that nail it or not, because just looking in the background there, side by side with Stuart Reynolds and Mikel Lees for 6th place running through. If you get it wrong, all that is sideways there from Stuart Reynolds. That might allow Lees through, going through Hollywood down the Craner curves. Not quite going to allow him to do that, practically pushing him through now. But that last chicane, crucial for maintaining your momentum down the straight.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to try and really kind of not bounce the curbs, not too much of them. You've got to be a little bit greedy, but they don't want to be too greedy, because as we've seen a few times there with a mistake by Dan Mould, it can cause you a problem, and that is what has happened there currently at the moment. But these guys are still battling out out front and are still flying. We're looking at the Mikel Lees battle with Stuart Reynolds and Nilton Carvalho behind him as well. Vibe Sim District eSports sandwich there over Excite in the middle, with currently in 7th place of Mikel Lees, but back up front, Reid-Garton now has got Olivier Boltinek for company, and the gap now is currently down into the half a second section of the evening. Dan Mould flashing the lights. I don't know about light flashing. Drives me crazy, to be honest, Zach. I've got to be honest.
It can mean a number of things. For me, it'd be head down, go. Unless it depends on the context, right? It's one of those things, right? If you get pushed off the track and you flash your lights, that's them saying some not very nice words to you. If it's just in general and you're trying to catch someone, flashing lights to say, don't defend, I'm working with you, we're moving forward, sort of thing. Because if Dan Mould is willing to sit behind, the last thing he wants is Olivier Boltinek defending thin air, because all that's going to do is slow them both down. It's something you do in karting. You tap the bloody helmet. Oh my word, there's Callum Reid-Garton sideways through McLean's. That's going to invite Boltinek through and Dan Mould through as they head in towards Coppice. Oh my word, he's going to lose both places there. So Mould's flashing of lights to work together has really paid off, because both of them are now through 1 and 2.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys coming down into Goddard's. I'm sorry for shouting over you, Zach, but there you go. When the leader goes off, what an absolute turn of events here, because it kind of was looking really quite comfortable. Now he just looks all a little bit raggedy as well. Goes off, coming round through Goddard's. Takes a little bit of divert over the grass now here, and let's see what Dan Mould can do. Dan's gone to the right-hand side. They're going to be looking going into the inside of Redgate. Can he hold it? No, I don't think he's going to get it this time around. Dan's looking at swapping back. Boltinek comes over to cover him as they go through Hollywood and drop it down now through the S's into the old hairpin section here as well. And look at this, Reid-Garton, Mould and Boltinek and Draper, don't forget as well. Less than a second barely between them. Oh man, Reid-Garton's got to be a little bit gutted there, Zach, because he looked quite comfortable at this.
Yeah, I mean, a half a second gap clear, not the most comfortable in the world, but not under a ton of pressure. He wasn't being hammered at all, and it was one of those clumsy mistakes. Lost that momentum uphill as well going into Coppice, which is just not what you want after just having a bit of a moment. But Bolsonaro, our reigning champion, our championship leader, showing his prowess here at Donington. Not the quickest on circuit by any means, but certainly the cleverest at this point. No major mistakes, working well, and got himself to the front of the field. But still, over half of this race left to go, and he's going to be hoping that Reed Garton gets a really good run coming off of the final corner. Down in towards Redgate. Is the Hyundai going to pull to the right hand side? The answer to that is yes. In towards turn 1 at Redgate. This is going to be music to the ears of Bolsonaro. To the inside goes Reed. Mold tries to go around the outside, instead going to try and go for the old up and under. But when you've got Mark Draper, languishing there in the shadows, you cannot afford to try and go for a move to the outside.
No, these guys now are dropping down through S's, and I think you've got to admit, Reed Garton is going to be literally kicking himself after that small incident has cost him, but he's managed to get one place back, and now next on his list is Olivier Bolsonaro here this evening. What can Olivier do here, Zach? What option has he got against Reed Garton? We know he's flying. How's he going to play this? Is he going to defend like crazy, or is he still got to try and stick to his line? Because the options are limited, aren't they, for him at the moment? I think, you've got to defend. He's got to defend. That's really where he's got to be. And if he doesn't, Reed Garton's going to have him either way. So it's going to be tough for Bolsonaro at the moment.
Let's step out of this race for the moment and look at the championship. He's 1 point ahead of Scott McFall, who at the moment is in P5. First or second, it's still points gained. He's still going to defend because he wants this race victory. You can see Bolsonaro there. There goes Reed Garton to the outside of Redgate. Is he going to go for the move and settle his way around the outside? He's about halfway alongside Bolsonaro. Gets pushed to the outer excursions of the circuit. Dan Mould sitting there in the shadows waiting as they go through Hollywood. Now down the crane of curves. It's going to be the inside for Reed Garton, but it'll be the inside for the old hairpin for Olivier Bolsonaro. Going to hold firm. Dan Mould trying to find the gap through. Reed Garton going to go for the switch back, get the drive up the hill through McLean's, and then of course eventually Coppice. Has he got a nose ahead? He's definitely got the run. Dan Mould pushing him through, and what a fight we've got here.
Yeah, these guys are too wide for pretty much most of the circuit. And Reed Garton again, and Bolsonaro are still too wide on this run round McLean's up until Coppice. Dan Mould getting involved with Draper there as well. Draper reminds me of this guy who's just going to sit back and think something's going to happen, and I'm going to be there to pick up the pieces. What's going to happen? We don't know. We are going to find out in the next 8 laps. Reed Garton is not going to do this down into Goddard's. Too wide down into Goddard's. Is he going to now slip in behind? He is. Bolsonaro's got that slow run, Zach, we were talking about, and now he's going to be coming under pressure. Look at Dan Mould as well. Literally, you can split them with a blanket. They're so close. They're free. Is he going to free wide into Redgate? Oh, Bolsonaro's in the middle. Dan Mould on the right, Reed Garton on the left, Mark Draper in there as well. Oh, Zach, that could have ended badly.
Oh my word, yes it could have, but they are very respectful, all three of them. They are giving their absolute all for this fight. Mark Draper's just there enjoying the show. At the moment, they're in P4, waiting for his opportunity. Same to with Dan Mould, just to try and be opportunistic. But for Olivier Bolsonaro, I don't think he's fair. He wants to win this race. As I was saying, take a step out, sees ahead of his championship rival. He's still extending his championship lead, but he wants this race victory, which is fair enough to defend. Feed Reed Garton to the pack of wolves behind him with Mould and Mark Draper just in as well, and that could play to his advantage. He's got just under half of this race left to go. Bolsonaro so far has defended brilliantly, but Reed Garton has been relentless with this pressure. The 45, the Belgian, slightly defensive into Goddard's. What's Reed Garton going to do? Doesn't quite go for it, just dummies the move, forces Bolsonaro to have that slow run coming out, and then eyes up the move for Redgate.
Yeah, again, these guys are coming down into turn 1 there. Olivier Bolsonaro, Reed Garton now. Garton trying to again round the outside. Where is Mould going to go on this one? He's not going to go anywhere. He's just settling down, but they are too wide. Running around Redgate. Is Reed Garton going to be able to keep his nose in round the outside? Olivier Bolsonaro on the inside there. The Hyundai and the Audi go racing down into the S's here as well. Can they hold this now? There's got to be... Oh, there's got to be... Oh, no. Keep it clean, boys. We don't want it to end. I think that's the thing, that we don't want it to end with somebody being off track, do we? We want this to end on the race circuit with, whoa, Reed Garton there, big old one on Olivier. Oh, he's gone!
Has he held it? He's held it! Oh my word, he's going to settle back there in 4th place, but he's got Scott McFall there. He's going to pick up the pieces up into 4th place. Callum Reed-Gutton, that is front wheel drive for you, ladies and gents. He managed to keep that point in a straight line, completely ruined his momentum. A couple of seconds off the fight for the race lead. Dan Mould up there now because he overtook Olivier Bolsnick. If these three continue to fight, do not count out Callum Reed-Gutton, our pole sitter, because he can close that gap, same to a Scott McFall, and get back into the show.
Yeah, I think the one for me that's looking quite comfortable at the moment seems to be Mark Draper. Mark's not really being involved, as we've said, too much with this action. He's kind of just stayed firm, hasn't he? Held his position. But now he's got this opportunity and he's looking at going up the inside of Redgate over Olivier Bolsnick. That's him through as well. Oh, he's come back at him. Oh, he's up. Draper's off, taking a little bit of a diversion off the side of the circuit. But all the while now, Dan Mould's opened up nearly 7 tenths, absolutely flying. And here we got Scott McFall and Reed-Gutton having their battle around the old hairpin as well. Do we think, though, that with this, Scott McFall's clearly not been on the pace. He couldn't keep up. He's now gaining because these guys are fighting. Reed-Gutton has just got that Hyundai and is literally throwing it everywhere possible on this circuit. I think you can guarantee he's probably covered every piece of tarmac that remains here at Donington, and he's doing it again. You know, Scott McFall's got a tough job here to try and hold Reed-Gutton back, hasn't he, currently, Zach?
He has, and to the inside of Coppice, you saw Scott McFall running a little bit wide, so Reed-Gutton was like, thank you very much, kept it nice and tight to the right-hand side, got the drive off and got his nose ahead, down and towards the final chicane. Is Scott McFall going to try it to the outside? That's going to be bold and brave. Borderline stupid, and Reed-Gutton ahead up into 4th place, trying to redeem himself, still certainly in the fight, but with only what is now 4 laps of this race left to go. We tick on to 11 laps completed onto lap 12, so we have got lap 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16 left, and well, I can't wait for all the action to unfold in all of it. But Reed-Gutton, one of those things, you make a mistake, you either let it affect you and you live in that mistake and you continue to be slow, or you brush it off and you use it as motivation, as drive to get back into the fight. And that's exactly what the number 7 of Reed-Gutton has done. He started on pole position. He's come into this race expecting to win, and he's not going to let some spin let that ruin it for him.
No, he's going to be now trying to chase down Mark Draper, and he is doing so absolutely incredible. This could turn into one of them amazing 5-car races. You know, and from that point of view for us, that's going to be absolutely incredible, right? A 5-car race is going to be amazing. But do we think it could be a bit sloppy here as well? Because Reed-Gutton is flying, and we can see he's flying. Dan Mould's under pressure from Olivier Bolsnick. Mark Draper's going to be involved as well. Reed-Gutton's going to be coming through, lap through. We've got 13, 14, 15, 16, 4 laps now to go. And all in all, you know, what an upfront battle we've still got going. And we've got Draper doing a 1:11.559, the fastest lap of the race, here on the end of lap 12.
It's been fantastic to watch. We haven't really had opportunity to glance our eyes elsewhere because a 5-car fight for the lead, you can't miss that. Why would you want to? Look at the stakes. The championship protagonists are up there as well, 1 and 2, 1 point separate them, and they're fighting in 2nd and 5th, separated by only a couple of car lengths, and you cannot miss this whatsoever. Mark Draper has seemed so comfortable. He's been the only one that's kept consistent there, chilling in P3, it must be said. He's felt really comfortable, setting some good lap times, and maybe just sat waiting for those moves, because right now, let's be honest, Bolsnick gets ahead of Dan Mould. Dan Mould comes back at him next lap. It doesn't mean much. So maybe Draper's waiting for those final couple of laps where he can really hold firm.
Yeah, he's been in that 3rd or 4th place all the way through this race, and now he's got to be trying to look at making his move as well. Don't forget, Reed-Gutton is trying to come back through, but Bolsnick slips to the outside now. On the right-hand side, as we're looking at him currently at the moment, Dan Mould into turn 1. There's a flick of the position. We're not sure how it's going to go. Even the timing screen can't keep up there at the bottom of the screen. They end up flicking backwards and forwards. But Draper's now getting back involved with this as well, and we cannot count out Reed-Gutton. Yes, he is 7 tenths back, but if these guys are going to fight for the next 3 laps here, Zach, everybody could be involved in this, and it just looks incredible. Mould now with Bolsnick going around the outside of the old hairpin. Draper's got to run, he's got to run. Reed-Gutton's now involved. This is what we're saying about 4 cars going up coming into McLean's and into Coppice. It's going to be an absolute barnstorming finish. There's contact there. Oh, Reed-Gutton's coming back through.
He is too wide, 2 rows deep. There's Reed Garton on the inside of Mark Draper in towards Coppice. He's going to have a compromised run. There's Bolsnick to the outside of Coppice. Reed Garton's going to push Dan Mould through and maybe get himself up in a second place. Are they going to be 3 wide on the run towards the final chicane? We'll have to wait and see as we head on to the penultimate lap of this race. Bolsnick on the outside of Reed Garton, maybe for the lead as well. He's going to hold firm. He's going to get that compromised run. Here comes Scott McFall to the inside of Mark Draper. Draper's off. Oh my word. There's McFall into 4th place. You could not write this at all. There's a corner named Hollywood at this circuit, and I think it fits just well. Here's Reed Garton dummying to the inside of Redgate.
Yeah, he's now looking at moving up the inside of Bolton, and Bolton's going to go round. He's going to... No, he's holding, but McFall's coming through. Rushing down through Hollywood now. McFall is involved with this one. Reed Garton, Olivier Boltnek, Scott McFall. Dan Mould is gone now. 1.78 seconds. If this is going to be Mould's victory, he's got to keep this on track, and he needs these guys to keep doing what they're doing, because at the moment it's been absolutely incredible. McFall's trying to hold the inside line here, running up the hill now as they're going into McLean's. Is he going to be able to hold that outside now, running around the outside of Reed Garton? Not this time around, but wow, that could have been a lot worse. That little contact with Bolsnick and Reed Garton there, Zach.
Oh, it could have been, but Dan Mould's going to be loving that. From 5th place on the grid, now leading the way by 2.5 seconds. The biggest margin we've seen all race long. All because Reed Garton and Bolsnick tripped over each other at Redgate. And yeah, I mean, it could have been a really good move. Oh my word, that's late on the brakes from Scott McFall. 1 lap left in this race to go. There's, I believe, Stuart Reynolds got into the mix as well because of McFall's mistake. Reynolds up into 4th place. Brilliant recovery from him. There's Bolsnick and Reed, though, once again into Redgate. He's eyeing up that dummy. Bolsnick says no to that with a compromised run. Maybe going to try and park it on the apex. And now Reed Garton pushing him through. He's sideways. And are they going to be side by side through Hollywood? A bit of a shake from Reed Garton. He tucks him behind with only about 2/3 of a lap left to go. Who's going to get second?
Oh, absolutely no idea. I can't tell you who's going to get second. We'll have to wait till the end. And what an absolutely end there as well. There was a move of the car from Boltnek into Reed Garton. Reed Garton got a slide on. Dan Mould's been pushed out by 2.89 seconds as these guys are running now through McLean's on this run up into Coppice now. And we've got Reed Garton. We've got Olivier Boltnek. We're going to keep an eye on Dan Mould. We'll follow him across the line very shortly. But it's this battle here. How is this going to turn out here? For I think actually that going back, thinking through it and looking through the standings, this could be Callum Reed Garton's first outing in this championship. I'm not actually, by what I can remember, I've seen him before as they're going around 2 wide now into the last chicane. How's this going to work out? We'll see Dan Mould across the line. We'll be able to see these guys as well. Dan comes across the line in 1st place. Dan Mould is your victor. I think Olivier Boltneck's going to get it. Yes, he does. Reed Garton in 3rd, Reynolds 4th, Draper 5th, McFall in 6th, Neil Carvalho coming across the line in 7th, Mikael Lees in 8th, Chris Byram in 9th, up 6th as well from Chris. Stellar job from him. Dominic Herbert up in 10th, Dan Carpenter, Lewis Archer going to be coming across the line in 12th place. Wow, I guess that's the only way I can really say that, I think.
Yeah, there's not an adjective that does it justice. So all we have to say is wow. And the fact that Dan Mould won by 2.5 seconds is not telling of what a race that was. 4-5 cars fighting for the lead at one point. You know, all the way through 16 laps of just chaos. It must be said. And for Reed Gardner, pole and a podium for your debut is nothing to shy away from. That was brilliant, a brilliant performance from the Hyundai driver. He did amazingly well as we wait for sort of the tail end of people to come across the line. But Dan Mould played that race to perfection. Boltonic was just hanging in there. Not the quickest on track, as I said, but one of the smartest, and was able to maximize points there.
Yeah, absolutely. So here is your final results. You've got Dan Mould in 1st place from Blade Designs. Olivier Boltnek in 2nd, Callum Reed Garton in 3rd, Stuart Reynolds in 4th, Mark Draper 5th, Scott McFall 6th, Nilton Carvalho 7th, Mikael Lees 8th, Chris Byram 9th, Dominic Herbert is in 10th, Dan Carpenter 11th, Lewis Archer 12th, Sean Roberts 13th, Stuart Gibbons 14th, Derek Crowther 15th, Luke Mitchell 16th, and Rob Sluter down in 17th place. And Stathis Kokorogiannis didn't finish there. It was all the way down in 18th. Oh, well, if that's what we've got to look forward to, right, for the feature, plus a pit stop, a drive-through pit stop that these guys have got to take, it's just going to be insane action all the way through, isn't it?
Plus 6 laps as well.
And a reverse grid to top it off.
And reverse grid, it's written in the stars for these guys. I mean, 16 laps, it was brilliant. And now we flip it on its head. We've got our quicker guy, quote unquote quicker guys, the guys that finished ahead in race 1, fighting their way through the grid in race 2. Those that didn't do quite well in race 1 get to redeem themselves in race 2. And it's just going to be great because it's going to be a case of who's going to carve their way through the quickest, who's going to be able to keep it nice and clean, the best, who's going to, nail the strategy. Because even though it's just a drive-through, it can still have massive implications. It's like taking the Joker in Rallycross, for example. It's one of those things you don't necessarily gain or lose time from doing because everyone has to do the exact same thing. But if you can time it well, you can make some pretty good gains from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny Bleak, look, the lap times. We were looking. McFall was joining, yes, as well. Milky 16-16. What a great race. And then Danny Bleak there as well. What battles. Olivier Bolter is neck. Not sure what to think, to be honest. A bit more of a conservative one. If we can have, just settle down a little bit, Olivier, that would be great. Me and Zach need our voices for other events that we've got coming up as well next week and that. So if you could just keep it down a little bit, keep it a little bit more calmer, that would be absolutely amazing. But overall, I think that, as these guys are in their warm-ups currently at the moment, a couple are going to need to go and get a drink and a dust off with a towel, I think, because that is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, to say the least, yeah, you just got to stand up, breathe for a moment, because when you're racing, you don't really pay too much attention to it. It's one of those subconscious things. The adrenaline is just taken over. Everything is just focus, hyperdrive on the race, the pressure and things like that are going on. You're just so in the zone in races like that. It's easy to switch off when you're just driving by yourself, but when you're constantly being hammered by pressure, you have to maintain that standard. It's you do just get taken over. So just stand up, have a drink, walk around for a little bit, go say hi to your family or whatever, and just breathe, and then come back and build that back up again, because you deserve it. I mean, it was such a good race, and now you've got to do that again, plus a little bit more, plus the whole reverse grid shenanigans and things like that. There's a lot to take in. So yeah, even though it is sim racing, it can be quite physical.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I was in a race like that, I'd be absolutely sweating out there as well. Don't forget, guys, if you have just joined as well, you've got myself, James Parfitt, and Zach Sweeney guiding you through all the action this evening. Don't forget to give the video a big old thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the bells for notifications, because we have got some absolute epic racing coming up here on the United Touring Championship as well. Next week it is here at, next week is at Brands Hatch. Then we go on to Monza with no chicane. That's the next 2 races in November. And I think from our point of view, Zach, if this one's like this, how are we going to cope with the other 2? Because Brands Hatch, with these cars and these drivers,
beautiful. I mean, we said it in the pre-show a little bit. The calendar we've got is beautiful. I mean, as you say, Brands Hatch next, then we go to the Rebel Ring and Monza just after that. I think it's the Monza, then the Rebel Ring in that order. And then, of course, we round off the season with Phillip Island and Oran Park, which, again, 2 great circuits for the Aussies to sort of, have their fair share of things. The Aussies are sort of underrepresented, I think, in sim racing. They're fairly quick guys, to be fair. But, yeah, it's just a great, touring cars can go anywhere. They're a great combination pretty much wherever you put them. Club circuits, Grand Prix circuits, it doesn't matter, because they're going to race, and they will race well. And I think Donington's proved it. We've been to COTA, which again proved it. Road Atlanta proved it, where these cars, you can just put them on a circuit and they will race. And that is going to be epic. And going to need to start doing some vocal exercises, I think, before each show, because, yeah, my voice, I don't think, can take that much.
No, definitely not, to be honest, as well. We've got Stuart Reynolds. He's having a bash at poor old Zach in the booth in Discord currently at the moment. Poor old Zach's getting a little bit of grief from Stuart. So that should be interesting. Oh, but there you go, guys. If you want to come and join us, come and have a go. Put your little comments in the Discord as well, guys, because that is where Zach's been under some grief from Stuart Reynolds. Never mind, Zach. Never mind. Don't worry, mate. We got the feature to go. You'll be all right. You can get through it.
It's fine because he's already put in his vote. He can't take it back now, so it's fine. He's already voted me best commentator for the old VCO semis. So you know, if anyone else wants to chirp in, not saying to do so. Just if you want to click the link and then go to best commentator and type in Zach Sweeney, no judgment whatsoever. Just if I'll slide you a Freddo. I'll slide you a Freddo just under the table. No one needs to know. And brilliant because I won a nomination. Arjuna Kankapati, right? He won it last year, 2021.
Yeah, I saw.
That was his second year of commentating. All right, I'm all right with Arjuna. However, it's my second year of commentating as well, so I'd like at least a nomination potentially. If you guys can, I'd love you if you did. No, I'm joking. It's just great to be.
Guys, right, this is the thing. Me and Zach have spoken about this before, right? He's not actually joking. I think because of the fact that what we do week in, week out, and what we do every single week is something that we love, right? We love commentating. We love everything that we do within this environment. And Zach can probably vouch for this. I'm not saying anything out of turn. And I think from both of our point of views, if you sat back and was like, actually, you know, the guys here do deserve a vote, and both of us, you're more than welcome to go and vote. I'll give you the link. You can go and have a look. It's section 8. You can skip the rest. You don't even have to worry about voting for the rest. You can vote for the broadcast company as well. So you can vote for JPB, or you can vote for individuals. And I think from mine and Zach's point of view on that, it's getting recognition, Zach, isn't it, for what we do? I think that's always kind of what we're after, because you know, we do go through some negatives, we go through positives, and I think to get something, to get into that final 5 where you can sit back and think, you know, this could be it, this could be it. On Boxing Day it's going to be announced. The votes are open till the 13th, guys, as well, so you can get your votes in as well. But it's just recognition, isn't it, Zach, and appreciation for what we do up in the booth, really.
I mean, yeah, I love what I do, especially, you know, how it's all snowballed, really. I started literally just on GT Sport with my mates. We were driving around, and as I was driving, I'd shout random phrases and be like, "Oh, he's done this," and then I was like, you know, I'll spectate this race, I'll commentate it, and I recorded it, and then I posted it on YouTube, and I was like, hey, hang about, let's do a bit more of this, and then I was like, I went on Facebook, was like, it's some F1 little league, and was like, does anyone need a commentator? I'll come and do it, and it just snowballed from there. Got in contact with Lewis McLeay, just did this, did that, and it's now meant I haven't had to make a CV all summer for my, you know, for leaving school, done my GCSEs. Most of my friends were all, you know, stacking shelves in supermarkets and things like that. It means I haven't been able to do that, and it's been so much fun to be able to be on that journey. And even just people sending a nice little comment after the stream or whatever, it means so much. So for those that are being able to be nominated for the Simmies and to receive the Simmies as well, yeah, well done to them. It must mean the absolute world, and it is great to be able to have the privilege of being able to give everyone sort of the show, because it's easy work, but it's not easy work in that sense. And I give a lot of respect to anyone that can sit and talk and try and entertain, because it's pressurizing. It is public speaking, granted it's through a screen, but it can still be quite nervous.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's one of the things that why we do it up here in the booth. We are coming now to the end of practice. We will get back into the racing, and I think that was just absolutely incredible. The first sprint race, Dan Mould there coming out victorious, and I think, well, if that's anything to go by in the future, for the feature, well, we're going to be absolutely here, lost voices. I think that's what we're looking forward to. So let's see how we get on in the feature races. We are coming to the end now of our practice time, 18 minutes. So let's see how we get on and go from there. As Dan Mould, I will respond to that. And let's see what we can get. Within the warm-up, we'll have a look at the grid very shortly when we're able to get it. And this should bring us now, as we wait for the end of warm-up to kick in. We should be able to show you The grid for race 2. Ivan Baukamp will be in first place. Staffis Kokorianis in second. Rob Sluter third. Luke Mitchell fourth. Derek Crowther fifth. Stuart Gibbons in sixth. Sean Roberts in seventh. Lewis Archer eighth. Dan Carpenter ninth. Dominic Herbert 10th. Chris Byram in 11th. And Mikael Lees in 12th place. Beyond that, we have got Neil Carvalho 13th, Scott McFall 14th, Mark Draper 15th, Stuart Reynolds 16th, Callum Reed-Garton 17th, Olivier Boltonic in 18th, Dan Mould in 19th place. Full reverse, Zach, it's going to be absolutely incredibly spicy. Ivan Baukamp has got to get away and do his thing straight away, hasn't he? Because it's going to be under a heap of pressure.
That's the thing with these reverse grid races. You've got to get underway pretty well. We are going to the lights very, very shortly. But yeah, Ivan Baukamp, head down and get on with it.
There we go now. The lights are out. Down now into turn 1 we go. Ivan Baukamp is currently leading us away for this 22-lap feature. No time limit. Plus the drive-through pit stop as well. So Ivan Baukamp, Staffis Kokorianis now 1 and 2. Luke Mitchell, Derek Crowther here behind them there as well. And now guys from the last race, Callum Reed-Garton is up 3, Dan Mould is up 3. So them guys are flying through the timing now at the moment, and they are making gains left, right and centre. Oh, it was a big one there. That was, oh, whoa, hold on, let that settle down. That was Sean Roberts, I think. Yes, it was Sean Roberts at 9.39. Luke Mitchell. Dan Carpenter's also taking an excursion as well. And now, Kokorogiannis is in first place.
Nice stuff. And yeah, he just sort of went unnoticed really because of the carnage and the melee that continues through McLean's on the exit, uphill in towards Coppice. And Kokorogiannis is doing a really, really good job. Here's Olivier Boltonic trying to pick his way through the carnage and the melee. Oh my word, that was very close. Oh my word, loads of cars off track, nearly 5 wide as they run their way through. There is Dominic Herbert running side by side with the Belgian in towards the final chicane. Also Mark Draper trying to follow him through to the inside. He has got his nose ahead, going to compromise the pair of their exits. There goes Lewis Archer, a couple of cars off just in front, and what a chaotic start to this race.
Yeah, Mikael Lees was taking a bit of a dive out of grass as well. Mark Draper here as well. Dan Mould, Olivier Boltonic. We are now literally here with the back end of these guys with Mark Draper, Lewis Archer and Mikael Lees there as well. As more contact. Archer's off track. Currently at the moment is now down in 12th. We've got people in the pits. Herbert, Carpenter, Carvalho, Reynolds is stopped in there. Mitchell stopped in there. Roberts is stopped in there. And there's no Rob Sluter out on track. But Kokorogiannis out in front with Baukamp in second place. Derek Crowther in third. Reed-Garton now having a battle with Scott McFall, as we can see here on your screen currently at the moment as well. And well, you know, we've got 20 laps left of this, Zach. You know, they've I know we asked them to settle down, but that's a crazy beginning.
Yeah, I mean, that's what reverse grid gets you. There's Reed-Garton and Scott McFall all the way up towards the top. Also, Kokorogiannis falling back the order. There he is, settling into P3, but that is not great. Whether it was a slow down or a bit of a slide or whatever, Ivan Baukamp has been able to get ahead. Same too with Derek Crowther. Chris Byram up 7 places. Reed-Garton and Boltonic up 12 apiece as well. Scott McFall has tumbled down just a little bit as well. There's a couple of cars heading into the pit lane, and it is just so much carnage, so much chaos. Hard to keep up with it all, really. In towards Red Gate for another time, and there's Olivier Boltonic on the back of Stuart Gibbons.
Yeah, absolutely here as well with these guys. Olivier Boltonic, Stuart Gibbons now. Boltonic's going on the inside of Gibbons and running around through the S's and into the old hairpin. He is going now. That is Boltonic now up into 6th place, up 12 places with Reed-Garton. And as I say that, Boltonic's off track. Took a little bit of a, well, I'm going to say wider line because he did go wide, but he was unfortunately off the track as well. Dan Carpenter's been involved in an incident and has kind of jumped straight into the pits here as well. Kokorogiannis trying to defend hard with Chris Byram behind him. And wow, that's just unbelievable start to the feature race. I've got to be honest, I wasn't expecting that, I think, Zach. I think I was expecting a little bit more sort of calmer action than that. That was just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, very chaotic, very dramatic, and yeah, I mean, they really did not want to settle into this race very well. There's Olivier Boltonic already into the pit lane, a couple of cars as well just in behind McFall and Archer as well following him in, so they're coming in for their drive through very, very early. I think, which is something I don't think we did see at Kota or Road Atlanta. Drivers did leave it quite late, but maybe trying to get out of the traffic. They know things are going to happen. They don't really want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think you're just kind of looking for clean air, aren't you, at the moment, because there was so much going on at that beginning run. There was people all over the track. Reed Garton's now making a move up beside Byram here. Is he going to get this into Coppice? He's not going to get it this time. Kokorogiannis again, 3 wide going down here. I don't know what it is with that corner, but Kokorogiannis seems very, very slow. Oh. Goes round, but Reed Garton manages to keep going. Only just, mind you.
Only just. And Kokorogiannis, you can't do that. I'm sorry. I mean, to the inside of Coppice, it's just not going to work, especially when you're already 3 wide. It's just 9 times out of 10 not going to work. And Reed Garton is very lucky, I think, to still be pointing in the right direction there. Yeah. And yeah, I think he's been really quite unlucky. We saw him out of a bit of a moment in race 1, a couple of moments actually in race 1. There is Kokorogiannis pulling off to the left-hand side, which is a shame because the pace has been there for him throughout this, this race, especially to get off, but just a couple of small mistakes and things like that have really tarnished his momentum, and he's decided, unfortunately, to park the bus. But this is the fight at the moment for our race D between Ivan Balkamp, the Dutchman, followed closely by Derek Crowther in second place. Chris Byram and Callum Reed Garton are very, very close in behind, only a couple of seconds, and Reed Garton was our pole sitter for going into race 1, so he's definitely on a charge.
Yeah, absolutely there as well. These guys up front, Balkamp and Crowther now flying. Byram 2.7, Reed Garton is literally 4 tenths back from him as we follow this battle down into Goddard chicane, going right. We're not going left this time, mind you. And here we go. How is this going to all pan out? At the moment, Ivan Balkamp still manages to hold it from Derek Crowther. It looks like, Zach, from what everybody's got in, the complete pit lane time is about 20 seconds. Now, that isn't, as we found out before, 20 lost seconds, is it? They are going to lose time, but they're not going to lose that full 20 seconds because they are continually moving.
Yeah, I mean, they are going to probably lose around about 17, 18 maybe. And they're moving, but relative to everyone else, they might as well be stationary. Not stationary, but yeah, they're losing a lot of time relative to those around them. But again, everyone's in the same boat. The only things you're going to gain from the drive-through is how quickly you can brake or how late you can brake and get into the pit lane and still make it stop, and also how quickly you can disengage that pit limiter when you get to the line. Those are the only gains you're going to make when it comes to a drive-through. There's no stopping on your marks, refueling the car, or anything like that. There's only those small things that are going to make those gains. So all it comes down to is timing. When do you come in? At what point in the race do you come in? And yeah, where do you come out also? Because your in-laps and out-laps are both equally important. Yeah,
absolutely. Dan Moulton now up 14 places, looking at jumping up the inside of Byram into Goddard. He's not close enough this time around. I think from his point of view, he's just got to settle in. The front two are about 3 tenths back from each other at the moment. None of these top 5 have gone into the pits as of yet. There is basically everybody from 7th downwards have gone into the pits, so they are still nestled in there. But Dan Mould and Chris Byram and Ivan Balkamp and Derek Crowther are locked in 2 little pockets of battles as we've got 15 laps remaining here for the Donington Park feature race from the United Touring Championship. And I think, well, I've just been blown away. The beginning of this race was just absolutely chaotic. The sprint race has been amazing. So what more could we ask for? And we've got Milky and Jack going, come on Blade, as we've got Derek Crowther in 2nd place and Dan Mould in 4th. And we've also got Mark Draper in 6th. So it's a Blade 2 gap, 2, 4, 6 there, as these guys are now trying to make up through the order. I think, 2 seconds, I thought that was going to be rather close. As Balkamp now on the right-hand side. Crowther slots in behind him there, Zach. I thought they were almost going to come to contact around the Coppice there, but not that time.
Not that time, but Crowther is applying the pressure now. Ivan Balkamp might get a poor run. Here comes Reed Garton. Because of that backwards momentum, both of them, Crowther and Balkamp, were on the poor line going through that final chicane, and Reed Garton was able to just fly his way through. Now to the inside, and a pair of them into Redgate. What a move this is going to be. Ivan Balkamp sandwiched in the middle. There goes Crowther trying to go to the outside, not quite being able to work there, but Callum Reed Garton sails his way up into 1st place. purely by taking the race line through that final chicane. Balcamp and Crowther made the vital error of going side by side. It's completely ruined their chances for the race lead now, because Callum Reed-Garton is going to just check out, say bye, and off he goes.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't check out too far. But I'm also interested to see where he comes out on his pit stop, because I think overall from these guys, they're going to be looking at about, well, you can see Boltonek down in 15 seconds back, McFall 20. We're looking at maybe 12 to 15 seconds they might lose, I think, Zach, even though they are continually moving and obviously they're going at a reduced pace. But I think it could be getting really spicy after this round of pit stops. I think now we've got the positions where we're in. I think from Balcamp, Crowther and Mold needs to be making moves as well. He needs to get onto the back of Reed-Garton if he can, and looking at really trying to open up that gap, because I think these guys could be involved in that mix when they come out in regarding 5th and 6th, and I think that's what I'm currently predicting at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is that Boltonek, McFall, those that have already come into the pit lane for their drive-through have had clear air, whereas Reed-Garton and Dan Mould have had to be a part of this pack, particularly Mould, still languishing behind Crowther and Balcamp, is losing time lap after lap, which isn't great. He needs to get ahead, as you say, pull that gap, and is now going to try and do that to the inside of McLean. This is going to be very, very close indeed, but Dan Mould is going to get himself ahead. Crowther didn't fight that one too much, so definitely knows who and who isn't in this race, because Dan Mould won race 1. All you're going to be doing is hurting both of your races if you try and fight that. Yeah,
my fear is, though, for Dan Mould is Ivan Balcamp is a strong defender. Like, he will defend for his life. He is in the Honda as well. Then he's got the high Hondas around him. But Mould has got to be looking now. He's just got to run that line into that chicane and try and get that better exit out. Because I tell you what, Balcamp's going to be, he'll be out there building a wall if he can, mate, out the window of that car. I tell you, if he's got a kitchen sink in there, he'll be chucking it out to try and slow down Mould down. Because at the end of the day, Balcamp does defend. As I say that, he goes in deep into turn 1, into red gate. He's not going to let this go around the outside. Oh, movement of the car there. I told you, mate, that was the kitchen sink, that one coming out, I tell you, because he does defend very, very stoutly. Yeah, blue shells, bananas, whatever it is, you name it. He's using all the Mario Kart tricks there, Ivan Balcamp is, to keep Dan Mould behind. It was a mighty send into red gate, it must be said. And Dan Mould, we've been informed, just banter those light flashes, which is a bit anticlimactic. So I'd much rather sell it as, I'd much rather sell it as he's trying to, egg him on a bit, a bit of DPS drama or whatever. Try and sell you some false storylines or whatever. But now there's the dive in towards Coppice. All that sideways from Ivan Balcamp. Dan Mould going to force his way through. This is touring car racing at its finest. And now to the inside of this back straight. Maybe we could see Byram get involved as well there in 5th place. But Dan Mould to the right-hand side of this final chicane. We've got Crowther sat there in the background with the racing line. Could get the move done. Ivan Balcamp to the inside, and he's tapped it round, and here comes Crowther up in a second. Yeah, Crowther now made a benefit out of that one as well. We've got 3 blade designs, Crowther, Mould and Draper all behind him currently. If you can see, Draper is in a different coloured car. For some reason it didn't update, but it's now updated. And it's the 3 blade designs guys currently sitting in 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Chasing down Reed-Garton, who's about 4.5 seconds up the road. So it's really going to be what Boltonek can do. The gap from Boltonek to Reed-Garton is currently 16 seconds. Pit lane time round about 20. So that's going to be even more exciting, because now we can see that they're going to roughly, technically, should come out together. But as we've seen previously, for some bizarre reason, that 20-second pit lane time that we're getting the information for doesn't necessarily equate to what they're going to lose on track. They're just leaving us guessing, I suppose. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's strange with the lack of correlation. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. Keep us on our toes with Mark Draper there, I think, actually just getting ahead of Derek Crowther. Indeed so. So the Blade Designs cars working together quite nicely. Dan Mould up in the second, but you saw there, even in that couple laps of skirmishing between Dan Mould and Ivan Balcamp and co. Dan Mould lost so much time to Reed-Garton. 5 seconds is now the gap, and that has really cast a shadow over the rest of this race. It's going to be so hard to recover from that. Yeah, I think Mould's just got to literally push like an absolute trooper. He's got to put in them 111s that we saw him be able to do. He's got to just go full bore, flat out, I think. The Englishman's just got to get the bit between his teeth, because if he doesn't and Regarten extends this gap anymore, you can see the gaps on your left-hand side. It is 5 seconds at the moment, so he's got to go, and he's got to try and close it as best he can. But that means trying to go quicker than Regarten, which could mean to making mistakes, Zach, and I think that's what Damo doesn't want to do, because he'll lose even more time.
Yeah, I mean, but at this point, what have you got to lose? You've got to recover this. You know, either right. Let's just lay it out. He's got 2 options: pushes and is on the limit and tries to close that gap, and he spins, right, and he's, you know, going to finish not at the front, or he slows down and, you know, he's going to consolidate where he's going to finish, which is at the moment probably going to be 4th or 5th or whatever, with the lost time maybe compared to Boltonic or whatever. So it's an interesting predicament for Dan Mold, because it depends the gap. Actually, I scrap everything I've just said. It depends the gap to those behind, because if he pushes hard and spins and still comes out in 4th or 5th, he's not lost anything. But if he just languishes back, he's not had that chance. He's not pushed and at least tried. So it just depends on how aggressive Dan Mold wants to be. It depends what he wants to put on the line to go for that. But in my eyes, if I was in Dan Mold's seat right now, 5 seconds in less than half the race, it's not really doable, especially against Callum Regarten, a man that you were just able to beat in race 1. You're not going to close 5 seconds, so why risk your race? Just settle down, bring some points home. You've already got a race victory today. Just chill out and you know, bring it back to the checkered flag, because that's then when the points are scored.
Right, okay, so from that story that was so confusing, even I'm confused, and I sat here listening to all of it, are we saying now Dan Mold's just got to consolidate what he's doing?
I think so, because
Because I got a little bit
I
confused.
think so. No, I get you. Yeah, I did waffle on just a little bit. I did waffle. I do apologise. It made sense in my head, right? And that's what matters. It basically, right? He pushes and spins and whatever, right? Or he just sits back and consolidates. And he can try, but it's not going to be to much avail. So if I was him, I'll give it from my personal perspective. I wouldn't. I would just bring it home and bring the points home.
Right, that's what I agree with as well. I think Dan Mold has got to consolidate, partly because Regarten obviously is your first time out this week, so he's not in the fight for the championship at the moment, right? I'm not saying if he continues up this pace by the time he gets down into Orem that he's not going to be, because let's face it, you know, he's incredibly quick. But I think from Dan Mold's point of view, and I'm sorry, Milky, I don't think he needs to be pushing this really at all. I think he's got to consolidate. He's got gaps over Boltonic at the moment. Mind you, not a great deal, but he has got the gap there. So I think from his point of view, I think he's got to just sit back, consolidate what he's doing, and move forward, because I think that's going to be his best way of dealing with this. I think that could be where I'm looking at. He's got about 12 seconds maybe over Boltonic currently at the moment. So, you know, he's got that time there that allows him to come back out after his pit stop and go for it. But he's got to, you know, for those to score points, he's got to finish, Zach. And if he doesn't finish, he's not going to score points. So if he loses too many by pushing too hard, he's going to lose even more points. And I think that is a crazy maneuver from his point of view.
Yeah, because it's going to be all that risk for very little rewards. If he lowers the risk and keeps the same rewards, then brilliant, because you're not putting as much on the line. You consolidate in a good set of points and bring it home, which is pretty much what Dan Mold wants. As I said, he's already got a race victory tonight. You know, why try and be special now? I'm joking. He's, you know, you don't need to bring home both race victories. You don't need to put everything on the line just for that. If you think of it of a championship perspective, he's doing everything right at the moment. He's driving with some good pace with Mark Draper, his teammate, just in behind. He's doing really well in this race. Granted, some things are out of his control, but that's just racing. And there's some things that are always going to be out of your control. And a 5.5 second gap, yeah, you're not going to close that down. So he's definitely doing the right thing. But again, these races have been really chaotic. We've seen Regarten spin by himself before. He might just want to give himself the best opportunity just in case. Yeah, well, Craver's in, Balkamp's in the pits. So them guys are now nestled in the pits as well. So we'll see how that one comes out here further on. Byron moves up, but Fall moves out. Craver now drops all the way down into 7th place
He's back out. He come out in 7th as Crowther, and all that's left for to pit is Mark Draper, Dan Mould, and Callum Reed-Garton. So, and even then, Crowther was a 21.77. So we'll have to see where these guys come in conjunction to this man. I think this could be the only person on track that could give Reed-Garton a run for his money towards the end. But I'm also worried that Bolton X not closer enough to Reed-Garton to put him under pressure.
Right, let's have a look at their last lap times then. So both of them are in clear air. Bolton X has 6 seconds back to Chris Byron, 10 seconds up to Mark Draper, and Reed-Garton has just done an 11.58 on his last lap as he's just crossed the line. We're waiting for Olivier Bolton X now, exiting the final chicane. We'll see lap to lap who's quicker at this point in time. Across the line now for Bolton X, what is it going to be? Just waiting to flash up. 11.8, so 0.3 of a second slower for Olivier Bolton X. Both in clear air, both exactly the same in terms of pace. Reed-Garton has got the advantage, but how much time did he lose in coming through the field? Because Bolton X didn't. He managed to pit early and have some clear air all throughout. So now Reed-Garton is trying to compensate for that and make up for it. I think it could still be quite close, but right now on lap times, Callum Reed-Garton has got the advantage.
Yeah, you can see their last 5 lap times on the bottom of the screen. This is a comparison both the drivers, Reed-Garton and Bolton X. Well, Garton is just basically quicker over the last 5 laps, continuously pulled out 2, 4, 6, nearly 8 tenths plus a second. Probably could be nearer or closer to a second gap at the moment over Bolton X over the last 5 laps. Now, in perspective, that gives Bolton X 17 seconds to try and make up. Reed-Garton's got quicker again on a 1:11.487. Bolton X coming through into Goddard. We'll see what he can do currently at the moment, as he's going to be coming across the line. And let's see what lap time he pops up at the bottom as well. Another 3-4 tenths gone. It's going to be tough, I think. It's going to be tough. I think Garton has possibly got this in the bag, and he could end up having it in the bag by quite some distance.
Oh yeah, for sure, and that's what clear air really does, especially for Reed-Garton. His mistake in race 1 was defending and looking over his shoulder and getting into the mix, making that mistake that put him into the pack. If that didn't happen, I think Reed-Garton would have dominated race 1 for sure. I don't even think it would have been a question, because his pace at the moment, head down consistently, he's putting in some really good lap times. That last lap, an 11.49, the quickest lap of the race so far. You know, up there with some of his qualifying times. Here's McFall side by side at the moment with Chris Byron for the final place inside the top 5. He's been able to catapult himself to the outside of McLean's, now in towards Coppice. That was a brilliant move there from Scott McFall and up into 5th. So doing really good for him, but compared to his championship rival and teammate, of course, of Olivier Bolton X, this race hasn't been one to remember for a championship.
No, definitely not. And here is Olivier Bolton X. We think he may just get Mark Draper at the end there. Mark's going to be coming across the line on the right-hand side. There is Bolton X, there is Draper. Bolton X is through, and he only just made it through, Zach. So where is that going to put him in conjunction with Reed-Garton? Because if he's only just really, in hindsight, made it past Mark Draper, where is he going to sit with Reed-Garton? It's going to be close, I think, roughly, as long as Reed-Garton does remember that he's got to come into the pits, and so does Dan Mould there. So Ross Charlie, welcome in. Whoop, as he says there, joins us in chat. Thank you so much there as well. But we'll see once Reed-Garton goes in how this one materialises, and we'll see if we can find out what goes on, because I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a tight one, and these guys are really needing to put this all on the line. And I think, as we say, Bolton X is really the only man that could probably put Reed-Garton under pressure at this moment in time.
Well, both Reed-Garton and Dan Mould are into the pit lane for their drive-through, so it is just a race against time for Olivier Bolton X, who I think definitely has second place in the bag. There's Reed-Garton already leaving the pit lane. Where is Olivier Bolton X? Now coming down the pit straight, so it could be quite close. Reed-Garton into Redgate, up to speed, and with a good few seconds clear of Olivier Bolton X. So with only now lap 20, 21, 22, 3 laps left of this race to go, it's his race to lose.
Yeah, Dan Mould still in 3rd place, comes out in front of Mark Draper So Olivier Boltonek now has got 3.8 seconds currently to try and make up there over Reed Garton. What do we think? Well, if there's ever a tough ask, that's basically it, isn't it? You know, try and make up these 3 seconds. But Byram is closing down onto the back end of Scott McFall. He's currently having a battle, as is Nilton Carvalho. He's trying to chase onto the back of Lewis Archer in the Cuda Works team. Nilton Carvalho in the Vive Sim District eSports. Let's see how these ones pan out as well. We'll keep an eye on the gap up front. It's down to 1.6. Is that coming down relatively quicker than we're thinking?
Unless our timing sheets are wrong, I think that gap is legit. At least to me, right now, it's 0.7 of a second between Callum Reed Garton and Olivier Boltonek. So maybe a slowdown for Reed Garton. Maybe he just wants to make this race interesting. If I was him, I probably wouldn't, because yeah, if it goes wrong, he's going to look a little bit silly. But hey ho, we've now potentially got a race on our hands. 2 laps left to go, and Boltonek is going to try and give it all to get that victory.
Yeah, he has lost a big old chunk of time now, and if it is down to a slowdown, then wow, just wow, because that's dropping. Look at it, it's going down consistently, and Boltonek is pulled in an absolute massive chunk of time here over Reed Garton. So it's how this is going to pan out now for, I think. Both of these men are up 16 positions, as is Dan Mould, and now Boltonek is looking at going up the inside here. Reed Garton making it more difficult for him as they go round now, around the right hand of Coppice on that way down. Boltonek's just got to keep it on track. Just
that was
manages
close.
to.
Yeah, I mean, skating through, but Reed Garton, you could see there by the defence that he is trying to make life difficult. He's got 1 more lap left to go, 0.7 of a second between himself and Olivier Boltonek, and well, this is where it all comes down to, because Dan Mould 1.3 seconds back, Mark Draper, a further 1.5 seconds back on that. It really is a 2-horse race. Boltonek's going to have to give it absolutely everything, and I have to say, with the gap it is now, if he nails this last lap, he just might have the chance into that final chicane.
Yeah, he's got to go some at the moment, and the gap's kind of settling out to about 8 tenths again at the moment. Carvalho and Archer, however, are a little bit closer to each other as they start their final laps. Archer runs a little bit wider than he probably wants to into Redgate, and Carvalho now looks at coming up behind him. Carvalho up 2 places on his grid slot at the moment. But let's see how this one pans out. Keep an eye on your leaders. The gap's still out. Well, it's gone right out now. It's nearly out a second, which in hindsight doesn't sound a lot to people at home, Zach. You know, the seconds are like, woo. But on a racetrack, that second can play a massive part.
Oh yeah, a tenth of a second can play a massive part. We saw in qualifying, the smaller thousandths of a second can play a massive part. You've got to be in it all the way through. And Reed Garton, he's nailed each and every tenth of a second now across the line.
Yeah, Reed Garton is going to come across the line for the feature victory here tonight. Olivier Boltonek in second, Dan Mould in third, Mark Draper fourth, Scott McFall in fifth, and Chris Byram in sixth place, right behind him. Derek Carver in seventh, Ivan Balkamp in eighth, behind that Dominic Herbert, Lewis Archer, and Nick Carvalho still battling away. Archer still in front at the moment, and he takes 10th place. Neil Carvalho 11th, Stuart Gibbons in 12th there. And then Luke Mitchell from GTR Evolution in 13th place. In compared to what we had for the sprint, that feature was kind of a little bit more anticlimactical almost, because it didn't quite have the full feel that we thought we were going to get once certain things happened on track. Events played a major part in that race overall, didn't it? And I think that's where we kind of lost out a bit more of the show, really.
No, I don't think we did. I think we still had a show. It just wasn't quite the race one show. We still had things keeping us on our toes, whether Reed Garton was going to get out ahead of Olivier Boltonek, whether Dan Mould was going to get into the mix. The fighting their way through initially was a lot of chaos. But yeah, I guess you are right in the sense that we didn't quite have 3 or 4 car fights for the lead like we were maybe hoping, but still throughout the race, there was tensions throughout.
Absolutely. Your final results here from the feature race are on your screen. And currently at the moment, Callum Reed Garton does take first place. Olivier Boltonek in second, Dan Mould third, Mark Draper fourth, Scott McFall in fifth. Chris Byram 6th, Derek Carver 7th, Ivan Balkamp 8th, Dominic Herbert down in the 9th, Lewis Archer in 10th, Nilton Carvalho 11th, Stuart Gibbons in 12th place, Luke Mitchell 13th, Stuart Reynolds 14th, Stathis Kokoro-Giannis in 15th there, and beyond that we've got Mikael Lees in 16th, Dan Carpenter 17th, and Sean Roberts in 18th. If that is remotely what we've got to look forward to from Brands next week, that's just, it's going to blow us away. I'm going to need some strepsils after that one.
I can't wait. I mean, this championship, I have sort of fallen in love with it, really, because it was my first touring car championship. Really never really dabbled into sort of the realms of United, just UTC in general, touring cars, and all that, because I love commentating on sprint racing, where it's just giving it everything all throughout the race. Endurance racing I've dabbled in and all this, that, and the other. But it's it's long. The action is spread out. With sprint racing, it's so densely packed into such a short time frame. You have that adrenaline rush all the way through, and that is what I absolutely love to commentate on, because you've just got a smile on your face all the way through. And Donington Park delivered. Kota delivered for round 1. Road Atlanta delivered for round 2, or 3 and 4, I suppose, in terms of race count. Brands Hatch, Monza, Red Bull Ring. The next few weeks really have got some great tracks in store in the championship fight. The grid is competitive. It's just a recipe for brilliance.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Dan Mould in the chat, waiting in the green room for us. Let's bring him in. Here is Dan Mould into the booth. Good evening, Dan. How are you?
I'm all right. All right, chaps.
Yeah, mate. I'm all good, mate. We watched an incredible sprint race. And then a feature race that kind of worked out well for you in the end, in third there. First in the sprint, though, just tell us about that, because from our perspective in the booth, mate, it was incredible racing. Absolutely incredible.
It was pretty good. We was all buzzing in chat saying, this is, one of the best races we've had. And then I think Scott may have misjudged Ascend on Mark. And then I think Mark repaid the favour, which I think upset a few of the boys, and then it just went a little bit downhill from there towards the end, but overall it was still a great team battle between us and Sim District. But yeah, it was fabulous, man. I'm smiling.
Yeah, mate, you should definitely well be as well, because that's going to put you in a nice big chunk of points for the standings. You went in 1 point behind. No, you were down in third currently at the moment, so that's going to bring you within that championship battle. Brands Hatch next week. That's got to be an opportunity as well, right? Because surely you want to be trying to maximise your points tally there as well.
I was asking Cal I said, Cal, let me have the win, please. He's like, no. So, yeah, Brands Hatch is a fabulous track. I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be pretty much what you've seen tonight with, the 4 to 6, 7 drivers battling. Yeah, so it's a fast-flowing track with some good opportunities to pull a move off.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. But, well done on your sprint race. Congratulations in your third one, mate, as well. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Just the organisers, you guys. A shout out to Scott McFall for. I didn't realise the last race about his dad, and I messaged him. So yeah, shout out to Scott. I have messaged him in between, and Olivia or Oliver. His strategy in that second race was fabulous. It was amazing. I was like, how has he come out in front of me? It's like, but yeah, it just the lads, everyone. This league's a fresh breath air. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible for us in the booth as well, mate. But congratulations on your victory and your third place, buddy. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Cheers, mate. See you later. See you, boys.
Right, we've got Callum Reid-Garton in the booth with us now. Callum, good evening to you, sir. How are you?
I'm great, thank you, mate. How are you?
I'm not too bad at all, mate. I watched an incredible sprint race. I've watched an amazing feature race. And all in all, I've watched you come into this series and kind of really put the cat amongst the pigeons, to be honest.
Yeah, I came in as a teammate for Dan to help him with the championship and stuff. So, but yeah, the sprint race was great. It was great racing. I made a couple of mistakes. The car just got really, really loose, and it was just one of those things. But really clean battles, lots of fun. Overall, great night.
Yeah. Overall great night, took the victory in the feature is fine, not a bad sprint race as well, mixed in the battles. The racing in the sprint race though, that must have been intense, right? Because at one point, there was 5 cars in it. I don't think actually we focused on anybody else throughout that whole sprint race apart from that top 5, because you were swapping positions, you were door banging, you and Olivier had come to contact, you were sideways at one point with your rear end pointing in a different county, let alone not even on the racetrack, and yet you still managed to hold it and go straight in a straight line. It was a tough old race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was difficult. Credit to Olivier, like he made that Audi as wide as possible. Like I just couldn't get past him. But I was trying to do it cleanly. I just didn't want to do any silly sends into corners and jeopardize both of our races. But Dan and Mark as well, they had a great race, and also Scott, he got mixed in the battle as well. It was really fun. I really, really enjoyed it. Saying it was the first night as well, it was really, really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if that's anything to look forward to, are you joining us for the rest of the season? What's the situation with Callum Regarten at the moment?
I believe so. I'm free most Saturdays, so I should be here for the rest of the season, hopefully.
All right, hopefully as well. So we look forward to seeing you at Brands Hatch next week then. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Yeah, the organisers of this event, the admins, they got me in last minute, so kudos to them. Thank you very much. Thanks to you guys as well for a very good commentary and a great stream, and also thank you to Dan and Blade for sorting me out a car and a livery.
Well, there you go, guys, as well. Callum, thank you so much, and congratulations on your victory in the feature, and we look forward to seeing you next week, buddy. Well, there you go. That is Callum Regarten there as well in the booth and coming along. Going to hopefully join us for the rest of the season. That will be absolutely incredible there for on board with Blade. Overall, Zach, this series just hasn't not delivered, has it? If that really doesn't make sense, but if you get what I mean, it's delivered every single round, and it's delivered again this evening.
I can't, I can't recall a bad race so far this season.
No.
Of course, I wasn't around for season 1, so I can't, talk about that. I'll have to sort of trust you guys on that one. But for season 2, what I've seen has been phenomenal. I've been blown away by the standards of the organization, of the admins, of everything behind the scenes. Just the drivers, it's a nice atmosphere to be a part of. You saw there with Dan Mould and Callum Regarten. They just seemed so buzzing to be a part of it, having fun. And that is the most important thing, is they went out there, they had fun. They're not coming off the track saying this, that, and the other about, this driver or whatever. They've just come off with a big smile on their face. They're enjoying it. They're looking forward to the rest of the season. And honestly, so am I, because with the tracks that we've got, with the drivers that we've got, and the racing that we've had, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot really put this series into words. This season has just been absolutely epic, and it's only going to go from strength to strength as well. So if you can, guys, if you do like all the racing, give the video a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bells for notifications. That will be absolutely amazing. But really, guys, all there's left for me to say is, obviously, I've been James Barfett. He's been Zach Sweeney. You all take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.